Welcome back. We are in the middle of another USTB championship match. Unfortunately, they did not catch the beginning of this match. But we're picking it up. It is a race to 4. Brian currently leads Dustin 2-1. Brian is playing for the Peoria team. Dustin playing for St. Louis. My name is John Perky, and I will be doing some commentary just because I wanted to upload these videos, and the jukebox is playing, and I didn't want to upload a muted video. So I'm going to just be hanging out, talking to you guys a little bit, and just kind of giving some basic commentary and some information about US Team Billiards if you're not familiar. US Team Billiards was founded by Mark Wilson, and it was something that he kind of ironed out during his time in the collegiate circuit when he was running the billiards competitive program at Lindenwood University. And it is it's comprised of 2 essential pieces as far as games are concerned. There's 15 ball and there's 9 ball. Now, 9 ball is something everyone's familiar with. You all know how to play it. No real change there. Some minor exceptions, and I'll talk about that in a minute. 15 ball is something that maybe not everybody knows. Obviously, if you're familiar at all with US Team Billiards, you know 15 ball. But the nutshell version is you rack 15 balls, you break, you take ball in hand, and you try to clear the table. You shoot any ball at any time. Ooh, what a nice little position shot there from Brian. It's actually crazy how often that little go around that ball pattern works, and it's not like you're trying to do it. It's just the cue ball is just going that way. All right, Brian gets on the hill. But so yeah, 15 ball. It is call shot though, so no slop, and it is all ball fouls. And with 15 balls on the table, if you tap another ball as you're getting down on your shot, or your sleeve touches it, or you stroke through the ball and your cue touches another ball, right? It's all ball fouls. So your turn is over. And if you're shooting your first shot, then you got a 1 or a 0. And if you're shooting your 12th shot and you touch another ball, and it's, you got 11. So it can be very humbling, and it forces you to pay the utmost attention to every part of your pre-shot routine and the full execution of your stroke and mechanics. And nothing really feels quite as good as completing a nice 15 ball run out. It is very satisfying. I find them to be more satisfying than a break and run in 9 ball. And maybe that's just because I do it more in 9 ball than I do in 15 ball, but 9 balls versus 15 balls. There's a lot more patterns you got to play. All right. Dustin's break was unsuccessful. He does kind of leave a distance combo on the 1-2, and it looks like the 4, 9, and 6 and 3 are all kind of jumbled up down there. But if he gets good on the 3, he should be able to open that stuff. Oh, right. The rest of the format. So for how the scoring works. So what this is, right? Let me back up a little bit. We're joined here. This is the All-Star Championship, which took place on November 29th, 2025 at Racks on the Rocks in Peoria. It took the top 6 players from the St. Louis divisions and paired them up against the top 6 players. The top 6 players out of the Peoria division. St. Louis has, I think 10 teams, something like that. And Peoria has not quite 10 teams. I think they're like 8 maybe. But so we the events happen about once a month. And so teams play each other, and individually every person will play 4 racks of 15 ball. Now, total possible score for each rack is 15. You get 1 point per ball, including the ones make on the break, unless you scratch, in which case those points just get nulled out. The balls that you make on the break get spotted. So you still have a possible 15, even if you scratch on the break. So with 15 balls, 4 racks, that's 60 points possible for the 15 ball segment, which is half of your power ranking score. The other half comes from 3 racks of 9 ball. It's a race to 3. 3 matches of 9-ball. Each match is a race to 3, alternating break. And mostly that's done just because the 15-ball does tend to take a while. And there are multiple divisions that play in the same day. So they kind of want to get people in and out. Nice little attempt there to go rail first. He's not really going to get safe from it, though. So that said, there's 120 points available per meetup, right? So after 6 meetups or so, the session's over. Then you add up all your scores. It's a running total. So total possible after 6 meetups would be 720 points. Now, I don't think anybody has ever gotten 720 points. And I can guarantee that's the case because nobody has ever played a perfect set of 15-ball 6 months in a row or 6 meetups in a row. The number of times people have gotten a perfect 60 is less than 10. And there have been almost 2,000 attempts across the various teams and seasons of US Team Billiards since Mark has been keeping score, which is from the beginning. But this is the 5th season finals, I believe. So, all right. So at the table here is Brian, and he finished 3rd in the Peoria division. His power ranking score was 547. Now, curiously, the 3rd, 4th, and 5th place players all had 547, which I find a little just an interesting thing. And the St. Louis one is something very similar. But the 2nd place player got 568, and the MVP of Peoria was Eric Naretto, and he got 570. Now, this particular weekend, there was a massive snow and ice storm, and some of the players from Peoria, as well as some of the players from St. Louis, were not able to make the drive up to Peoria. So some of these players are substitutes. I don't. Neither of these players are subs. They were both in the top 6. Dustin was the 6th place player, and his power ranking was 439, which brings me to the St. Louis power rankings. So in comparison, the 6th place player for Peoria scored 518. Now, if we go over to the St. Louis division, our top player, the MVP for St. Louis, only scored a 513. So less than the 6th place player in Peoria. From there, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th all differ by 1, and it's 462 to Randy Rudd, 461 to Dave Fitzgerald, 460 to myself, John Perky, and then 5th place was 447, and 6th was Dustin with 439. So it's interesting how close the middle of the pack are for both divisions. And the numbers being as off as they are, I think really only says that the Peoria division focuses more on the 15-ball than St. Louis does. So, I mean, 9-ball is 9-ball. I mean, anything could happen in a race to 3. I certainly have lost to players that only had like a 200 power ranking because I jarred a 9, and it's only a race to 3. So anything could happen, right? But 15-ball, I think, is where most of the score comes from most people. If you're averaging between 10 and 15 balls per rack, you're going to have a pretty decent day, right? If you can get about 100 points a week or 100 points a meetup, then yeah, you're sitting really close to being in the high 500s or even the 600s, which has happened. This particular session, nobody got over 600, but last session, somebody I did think have a 620, something like that. Anyway, but 15-ball personally is it's very humbling, and it is motivating when you should have gotten more, and you took something for granted, and it just didn't work out, right? You cut your run short. The number of 3s and 4s and 5s I had this session alone, oh boy, I put some body English on that. Yeah, the number of 3s and 4s I had this session it's I'm not really going to say it's embarrassing, but it's eye-opening, right? It just how a momentary lapse of focus, you know, the will just ruin your day. Kind of like that. Just a little momentary lapse. I don't think that was a particularly tough shot. I definitely expected him to make that, especially because he's on the hill. But, you know, could be anything. He could be really excited that, you know, he was going to win a match. I don't know if he won or if he hadn't won a match yet. You know, getting that first win is huge. All right. And Dustin gets a nice one there. So he goes to 2. Now, the way the All Stars work is there's, like I said, there's 6 players. It's a round robin. So we had, let's see, did we actually have all 6? I want to say there was 25 matches, but there should have been. Yeah, I guess we only had 25 matches. I have to think about that because I know what the final score was, and now I'm trying to think, like, 'cause there was a minimum that like one of the teams had to get to ensure the win, right? But other than that, I don't remember much. I have not actually watched these videos since they were recorded a month ago. And so some of these matches I'm seeing for the first time because I was off playing my other matches while they were recording, which is why we don't have the first half of this match, unfortunately, because I was playing another match and I looked over and saw that they had started, and I had forgot to go hit the record button. But I need to now. The reason the audio is muted is because there's a jukebox happening. Um, but I don't remember if it played the whole time. I'm going to test it real quick. Yes. The answer to that question is a resounding yes. So unfortunately, we have to mute the audio because YouTube doesn't like music apparently. That's okay. So a nice idea from Dustin there. Um, Obviously, he needed to kind of stun this ball, cut it a little more to make sure he gets behind the 8. Either way, he didn't leave anything real easy. The 2 ball looks large to try and cross bank it in the side. I also don't think the angle's there. This ball might cross corner bank if he wants to try and get aggressive. And he might just hammer that ball 2 rails out and draw behind the 8 again. Or he can go, yeah, okay, nice. So it goes cross corner with shape. That works out. The 3's hanging, so nice stop shot on the 2 to the 3. Really, you want a nice angle from the 3 to the 4, which is up here at the middle of the head rail. So you're going to want to try and get above the side pocket, right? You really want to be somewhere around here so that when you shoot the 3, you can come up. As long as he gets below that line, which I think he has done, he should be able to get into this area now, right? Anywhere over here. I would think you'd probably want to be more on this side of things. Oh, he went that way. I'm surprised by that because now you got to do something weird to get on the 5. I thought if he'd stayed on the left side of the table, he could miss the 8 and then get a little more natural shape from 4 to the 5. But now he's actually under the 4, so he can just stun this ball out to the middle of the table and get a nice shot on the 5. But he needed to put a little more juice on it. Considering he banked that 2 ball, I don't expect him to waste too much time banking this 5 ball and going for it. It does carry natural position. But the 7 to the 8, I don't think you want to go much beyond the center of the table. Now, a 9 ball is still a 9 ball, so just because he slapped that one in doesn't mean much. But now he's real straight on the 7. He's got to draw straight back to the short side of the 8. The only other difference with 9-ball for this format is jump cues are allowed. The 3-foul rule is in effect. It is alternating break. It is all ball fouls, but there is no push out. And that is really the biggest change to what's now normal in 9-ball pool, is that there's no push out. And Brian fell a little short on that draw and way overcut the 8 there, stretched out. And he's kind of laughing at himself, he knows. I kind of got away with one a little bit. Now we'll see if Dustin's able to force follow this ball or out to get any kind of decent look at the 8. He's left the cue ball on the rail, so he only can go forward. I think he's got an angle where he can force it out of the corner, but neither way, it looks great to try and get anything good on the 9. If he can get the cue ball back to the left half of the table at all, that would be outstanding. But yeah, you can see he's really trying to cheat the pocket and force an angle, and cheated too much, and unfortunately didn't get the shape he was looking for either. But sometimes that happens. Now Brian's got, I don't think it's worth going for, I mean, it's worth going for the cut because you're going to hit this with some pace. You're going to go up and down. It's fine. But I think the safer, easier shot is just to stun this ball, leave the cue ball behind the 9, bank the 8 2 rails out. Kind of like that, but he hit the 8 a little square. It's still not bad though. I mean, cue ball's on the rail again. The 8 ball's in the middle of the table. You know, you can't just float this 8 ball in. You got to put a nice stroke on it because you got to move the cue ball about 12 feet. And, well, more than that. Yeah, 14 would be nice. Right? Table and a half. About there. Oh my, how does that happen? Did not see the scratch happening there. I need to go back and look at that angle again, but this is the other thing. You can't give up a rack. Like, and in any other thing, we would just shake the guy's hand. He's got ball in hand on the 9 on the hill. Unfortunate finish for Dustin. It was a great shot on the 8. Just the cue ball went a little wide. And that sometimes is just how the game goes. All right. Check out some of the other matches from the championships. There's more coming. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.